last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click. Gitten of Shabbos Kodesh, it is Friday, Parshas Vayikru, and a Beis Nissen Tuvshim Pai Vuv on Edge. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and B'siyata D'Shmaya, I will be your host on Edge. So, while you're busy cleaning for Pesach, the world apparently decided this was a good week to completely fall apart. America and Israel are both bombing Iran as we speak. America is planning to take over an Iranian island. Denmark nearly blew up its own airport to stop America from landing there. And a ballistic missile from Iran landed in Yiddish24 and Altstut. Not a joke, my friend. Clear footage of it. We're seeing it in front of our own eyes. And to end on a high note, scientists in Britain invented something amazing for people with Alzheimer's and dementia. Wait until the end. Lots has happened, so let us walk through it together, slowly, because we could all use a breath right now. But, speaking of taking a breath right now, Montreal and Matzah Beckerai, 718-619-3661, or go on to montrealmatzah.com. This is the matzah you want. Best, most healthiest matzah. They have regular matzah, they have spelt matzah, extra thin matzah, and they also have whole wheat, and they also have, did I list all of them? And oat matzahs, of course. 4320 14th Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. You can stop by that pop-up shop and get yourself matzahs look over the Yom Tov Pesach. And as well, if you're thinking about your neighbors who don't or can't afford it, buy them a box of matzahs. Buy them a few boxes of matzah at Montreal Matzah Bakery, because not only will you do them a mitzvah, a kindness, but you'll also do the extra chesed of giving them something light, something easy to digest. Nothing better to do that. I mean, this is nothing better than to do a chesed on that level. That's what I meant to say. Okay, in less than 3 weeks, more than 16,000 strikes have hit targets inside Iran. About 8,500 of those came from Israel, and counting. Nearly 7,800 came from the United States. Together, they have damaged more than 120 Iranian ships, and more than 130 military and energy sites across the country, and counting. And it is not slowing down. The war is not over, my friends. The United States military is now preparing for a possible move to take control of Karg Island. We mentioned it before. Karg Island is a small Iranian outpost in the Persian Gulf. But it is not a small deal. About 90% of all Iranian oil exports pass through that island. It is effectively Iran's oil lifeline. The reason this is on the table, Iran has been threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow passage through which about a fifth of the world's oil normally travels through. And the American position is very clear. A senior administration official said directly he wants Hormuz open. If he has to take Karg Island to make it happen, that's going to happen, according to Trump. The current thinking inside the White House is roughly one more month of strikes to weaken Iran further, and then to take the island and use it as a negotiating tool. 3 large marine forces, about 2,500 troops each, are already on their way to the region. The Pentagon is considering whether to send even more. Last Friday, American forces launched heavy strikes on dozens of military targets on Karg Island itself. Trump told reporters that the oil facilities in the island were deliberately not hit because rebuilding them would take years. No final decision has been made on a ground operation, but Pentagon lawyers have been consulted. And Senator Tom Cotton said Trump was right not to rule it out. Israel has also escalated sharply. Israel struck Iran's South Pars gas field 2 days ago, one of the largest natural gas operations in the world, shared with Qatar. Qatar is a small but very wealthy Arab country in the Persian Gulf that supplies a large part of the world's natural gas. In case you didn't know, that strike knocked out close to 1/5 of Qatar's gas export capacity. The damage could take years to repair. Israel also launched new strikes on the Iranian capital Tehran, with explosions reported in Tehran itself overnight, and in the cities of Parchin, Kerman, Arak, and also Bandar al-Lenge, whatever. I think Bandar Lenge is a commercial port in southern Iran. 16 Iranian merchant ships were destroyed in what Iranian state media describes as a joint American-Israeli strike. Iran's IRGC spokesperson was also killed. Many others overnight. We will talk about them soon. At least 130 infrastructure sites were damaged. Iranian naval vessels on the Caspian Sea were also struck by Israelis yesterday. Netanyahu acknowledged that Israel acted alone in the South Pars strike, but he said he would follow Trump's request not to do that kind of strike ever again. Netanyahu also raised the possibility of sending ground forces into Iran as part of the campaign, as he answered reporters. Trump has originally hoped to have the conflict wrapped up before a planned trip to China at the end of March. Well, it's the end of March almost, and that trip has now been cancelled. Iran has responded with one... Well, it's not the end of March, it's the middle of March. It's March 20 now. Iran has responded with one of the largest drone attacks in the region has ever seen. Thousands of Shahid drones, small ones, one-way explosive aircrafts, were launched towards military and civilian targets across the Gulf. Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, where Dubai is, all confirmed Iranian attacks Thursday night and into Friday morning. The US CRAM shot them down, most of them, as you can see. Unbelievable. Anyway, he described Iran's decision to target, the Saudi Arabia's foreign minister, Prince Faisal bin Farhan, responded very sharply. He described Iran's decision to target Riyadh while Arab foreign ministers were sitting in a meeting together and these were his exact words, the clearest signal of how Iran feels about diplomacy. Saudi Arabia is now threatening direct military action against Iran. Listen to this is a new escalation in the war, by the way. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, posted a warning of his own online, and he said, "Our response to Israel's attack on our infrastructure employed a fraction of our power. The only reason for restraint was respect for requested de-escalation. Zero restraint in our infrastructure are struck again." He means to say that basically you didn't hurt us much by killing most of our leadership and, well, crippling our economy and, of course, hitting very important key sites and obliterating the entire ballistic missile operation. The Speaker of the Iranian Parliament, Mohammad Bakir Kalibaf, is using the Torah, to rally his people. Listen to this. He said, "America and Israel view all of them as Amalek. He warned that Israel wants to Gaza them off the face of the earth." The Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sánchez, openly stated that he cannot support the war with and stands with Gaza and Iran. He says he literally said that, he dislikes and hates the Zionist regime, claiming he is receiving letters from all over the world praising his position. After openly admitting, not too long ago, that they have no way to defend themselves comes a war. Right? Switzerland is officially stopping all weapons shipments to the United States. They announced this today. Switzerland has very strict laws about staying neutral in wars. Because America is now in a direct armed fight with Iran, Swiss law says they cannot sell weapons to either side. Last year, America bought about $100 million worth of military equipment from Switzerland. Now, no new weapons will be sent as long as the fighting lasts. I think Switzerland will have bigger problems to worry about than Trump crossing an Alps ski trip off his bucket list. The president of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, I hope I pronounced his name right, who cares, gave an angry speech today. Anyway, he said, because of the war, Israel limited the number of people allowed to pray at the Al-Aqsa Mosque on Har HaBayis, right? Erdogan told his followers that Israel is lying about needing security. He said the real plan is for Israel to completely take over the site, Har HaBayis. He then warned the Islamic world that the Jews, and this time he actually referred to them as plain the Jews, will not stop at Yerushalayim. He claimed that if they take the mosque, they will come next for Mecca. Mecca is the holiest city in Islam, which is located in Saudi Arabia. He told Muslims that they must unite and said they will not let the Jews take over. And here is the question that is now being asked seriously in intelligence circles around the world. Who actually is running Iran right now? Israel's strikes have killed so many top leaders in Iran that the chain of command is no longer clear. It is unknown who gives the orders or who controls the military. In a single strike on the city of Isfahan, Israel killed 3 senior figures at the same time overnight. Brigadier General Ali Mohammed Naini, the spokesperson who was killed, Ismail Ahmadi Moghadam, the intelligence chief and deputy commander of the Besiege forces, and Mehdi Gershy Schwarcz, a senior commander within the IRGC Aerospace Force, and as well Brigadier General Kavos Deherudi, a special forces commander in the Fars province. Promotions in the Iranian military are moving at breakneck speed, huh? Anyway, your Shtreimul also got hit, or looks like it went through the Third World War or something else. Nobody will judge you if your Shtreimul goes to Shtreimul Renew. Shtreimul Renew. What's Shtreimul Renew? We all know. 732-523-1559. Again, call Shtreimul Renew on 732-523-1559. Get your Shtreimul renewed in time for Pesach. There's still 2 weeks before Pesach. They come all over the tri-state area, pick it up for free, deliver it back to you like a brand new Shtreimul for free. Now, this is now a direct problem for Washington, what we spoke about before. Trump's team has been working towards a diplomatic solution, an off-ramp to end the fighting, but that requires a functioning Iranian government that can even negotiate and follow through on agreements. When there is no one clearly in charge on the other side, it becomes very hard to make a deal, and analysts are warning that a leadership vacuum can be just as dangerous as a hostile leadership, because there may be no one with the authority to stop the wrong decision from being made. A report published overnight described the recovery of bodies from an underground tunnel system in Iran used by the Iranian Air and Space Forces. The tunnel's entrances, where they keep all their drones and stuff, the tunnel's entrances, exits, and ventilation systems had all been struck in the attack. The men inside had no way out. They called for rescue by radio multiple times, but nobody came to their rescue. Their last transmission were prayers. Separately, an attack on the Basij militia checkpoints in the city of Tabriz killed 13 members and wounded 18 others. Until now, checkpoint attacks have been concentrated in Tehran. This is the first sign they are spreading to major cities far from the capital. The commander of the IRGC Quds Force, Ismail Kani, has apparently returned from the dead again. I'm not sure exactly what happened, because I reported that he was dead several times, actually. Despite multiple reports that he had been eliminated, Iranian state media says he just put out a new statement warning of more surprises from their terror station. With 9 lives, these monsters are unpredictable. What can I tell you? Iran is also working on a plan that would give it a different kind of control over the Strait of Hormuz without physically closing it. Under this plan, Iran's Revolutionary Guard would be charging ships a massive toll to pass safely through the Strait of Hormuz. Ships that receive clearance travel through a set route. Ships that do not receive clearance are turned back. Approved ships are paying up to $2 million just to get guaranteed safe transit on the water. This is unbelievable. The United States Justice Department is offering $10 million for information on 5 more senior Iranian leaders. The list includes current IRGC commander Ahmad Vahidi and also the heads of their drone, cyber, and intelligence units. The US says informants could be eligible for the cash reward and relocation to safety. In Britain, 2 men believed to be Iranian intelligence operatives were arrested after allegedly trying to enter Faslane. It's called Faslane, the Scottish naval base that houses Britain's entire nuclear submarine fleet, including its Trident nuclear weapons program. British authorities have not released the men's names or confirmed exactly how far they got before being stopped. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that after 20 days of fighting, that Iranians can no longer make the material needed they don't have, material needed to build nuclear weapons, and can no longer produce long-range missiles. He also said a ground operation may be coming. He went even further and laid out what he sees happening after the war is over. He spoke about new pipelines running across the Arabian Peninsula, the large landmass that includes Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries, all the way to Israel's ports on the Mediterranean Sea. That would mean the world could move oil and gas without ever needing to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, a very different map than the one we have today. America's Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said the United States campaign, Operation Epic Fury, is winning decisively and on our terms. 3 American warships quietly left San Diego yesterday after getting a green light from Britain that they can use their bases, heading towards the Middle East. The Navy said publicly it was routine. A source said that is not the full story. The ships are carrying the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit, and also that is a self-contained military force. Marine sailors, aircraft, and landing boats ready to go wherever they are needed fast. No destination or arrival date has been officially confirmed. Separately, the Trump government is pushing through an $8.5 billion weapons package to several Gulf countries, moving it much faster than the usual process. The package includes fighter jets, missiles, and air defense systems. And it is one of the largest weapon deals in the region, the region has even seen in years. I hope he doesn't mean the F-35s to Turkey. The effect of this war are being felt in people's homes far from the Middle East. In Britain, investors are selling off government bonds, and the effect is landing directly on ordinary families. The rate on 10-year British government borrowing just hit its highest level since 2008, and when that number goes up, mortgage gets more expensive. Lenders are already pulling loan offers from the market. Experts say homeowners could see their monthly payments rise by around £100 a month. Energy bills also are going up. Forecasters say the rise in oil and gas prices will push a typical British household's annual energy bill up to by over £300 starting July. Airlines in Australia, Qantas, Jetstar and Virgin have all raised the prices on flights because of the cost of jet fuel doubled in a single month. Workers are watching their costs go up and their savings go down at the same time. And the Australian government, somebody just announced that they don't have enough diesel. They ran out of diesel. Governments around the world are trying to bring oil prices down, but prices continue to rise. President Donald J. Trump strongly criticized NATO today. He said that without America, NATO is weak and useless. Trump stated that the European countries refused to help stop a nuclear Iran, and now that the military fight has won, they complain about how high oil prices are. He called them cowards for refusing to help open the Strait of Hormuz, adding that America will remember this. Anyway, Trump sends a very loud thank you note to Europe, in other words. On yesterday, President Trump met in the Oval Office with Japan's Prime Minister Sane Takehashi. Takehashi became Japan's first female Prime Minister in a historic moment for the country. Reporters asked Trump why the United States had not warned its allies before striking Iran. His answer, "Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Who knows better about surprises than Japan?" he joked. For those who may not know, in 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the American naval base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, which pulled the United States into the Second World War. So Trump used that moment in history to defend keeping the strike secret. Trump also praised Takehashi for Japan's support of the United States in connection with the Iran situation, though exactly what that support will look like was not spelled out. Iran executed a 19-year-old champion wrestler yesterday by public hanging. Unbelievable. His name was Saleh Mohammadi. He was a member of Iran's national wrestling team. The government convicted him of killing police officers during the large anti-government protests that swept through Iran in recent months. He is one of the many civilians to be executed in public for protesting his rights. Also executed a Swedish citizen named Korosh Kevani, a known activist who publicly opposed the Iranian government. Sweden has not yet responded publicly about this. 200 French yeshiva students who were learning in Eretz Yisrael needed to get home for Pesach, but Ben Gurion Airport is partially closed because of the war, so they found another way. The Ichad B'nai Yeshivas organization put together the whole journey. Students traveled towards Yerushalayim to the Taba border, from Yerushalayim to the Taba border, crossed through the Sinai Desert, Sinai, all the way to Sharm el-Sheikh, and from there boarded flights back to France. All 200 were home in time for Yom Tov, or are home in time for Yom Tov. On Monday night in Bnei Brak, an interesting story. Rav Yitzchak Zilberstein Shlita was on his way home from a shir when sirens went off. His driver pulled over and they took shelter inside the Hatzvi bakery on, I think it's on Kahneman Street. Yeah, Kahneman Street. And when the all clear sign came, Rav Zilberstein asked the workers to pack up some baked goods and paid for them himself. He said it was al tzanakudas atov, gratitude for letting them use the bakery as shelter. An Iranian missile made a direct impact on the area in the old city of Yerushalayim HaKodesh. I showed you before what it looked like. And also, in other news, the city of Rehovot in Israel also took a direct hit from a rocket attack in an apartment building. The damage was extensive and out of control. A soldier in the military reserves has been charged with passing secret information to Iran. And where the Iron Dome is there to protect, he basically gave away secrets of this Iron Dome, how it works, the locations of missile defense batteries, and the position of Israeli Air Force bases directly to Iranian officials. He was paid approximately $1,000 in digital currency. He now faces serious criminal charges. Since the fighting began, the Israeli military has struck more than 2,000 terror targets inside Lebanon. That includes roughly 120 Hezbollah command posts and, as well, more than 130 missile launchers. And more than 570 Hezbollah fighters have been killed. Among them, senior commanders at highest levels. Lebanon's health ministry puts the death toll at around 1,000, and the IDF says approximately 57% of those killed were actually fighters. The fighting is also creating, well, cracks inside Lebanon's own communities. Many residents have been pushed out of their homes again, and frustration towards Hezbollah is growing even among those who once supported it. In northern Israel, residents are refusing to leave, even as the firing continues. After 16 months of being pushed out of their homes once already, many families are saying, we cannot do this again. A journalist from Russia today, the Russian government television network, is claiming that Israel tried to kill him during a live broadcast.
Were reported against Nahariya and admitted
in Lebanon. Unbelievable. His name is Steve Sweeney. He was in southern Lebanon, standing right there on a bridge over the Litani River when a missile struck nearby. He says it was a deliberate attack and a war crime. Russia's foreign minister called Israel's ambassador to Moscow and summoned him over about the incident. One detail worth noting, though. Israel had publicly announced in advance, for those who remember, I actually announced it here myself, that it would be striking bridges on the Litani River and gave evacuation orders for nobody to be there. So he chose to stand on one of them and broadcast and make a live broadcast, I guess. Sure? Okay. Overnight, Israeli forces struck military targets in southern Syria. This was a direct response to attacks by the Syrian government's army on Druze civilians in the As-Suwaidia region. Remember there was a war once there? A terrible, terrible one. The Druze are a minority religious community who live in parts of Syria, right? Lebanon and Israel. Israel has long considered themselves responsible for protecting the Druze community in Syria. The Israeli military struck headquarters, a command center, and military equipment inside Syrian army camps. The IDF said Israel will not allow harm to come to the Druze community in Syria and will continue to act to protect them. Mediators working to end the war in Gaza say they now have a plan to rebuild the area, but with a few conditions. Hamas has to be fully disarmed completely before a single dollar goes in. Hamas says it will not even look at the plan. Now, with their money people in Iran being destroyed. The plan still exists, though. French President Emmanuel Macron called Israel's military actions in Lebanon completely unacceptable. Yesterday, and he also said he hopes that the current holiday period for the Arabs, for the Muslims, could lead to a ceasefire. France's foreign minister, or maybe Pesach as well, he means. France's foreign minister is on his way to Israel today. I think he arrived already there. 2 apartments in London have been linked to Mujtaba Khamenei, who also put out a statement, condemning the killing of his people. Pezeshkian, by the way, the one I spoke about yesterday, also put out a statement saying stuff, I guess. Well, they're all saying stuff now. He is the son of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and the man most widely expected to take over as supreme leader of Iran after his father. That is a very interesting thing, because nobody could find him, nobody knows where he is. Anyway, both apartments are less than 50 meters from the Israeli embassy in London. A terrorist expert who reviewed the case called it a serious security problem. In other news, Ukraine says, there's a war in Ukraine and Russia. It has taken back about 400 square kilometers of Russian-held land in the south since the start of the war. Since the start of the year 2026, start of the 4th year of the war. Ukrainian forces are also reporting record numbers of Russian drones shot down. Peace talks are on pause. The Kremlin calls it a situational pause, a very official way of saying nothing is happening. But Ukraine's President Zelensky, who has been seen, by the way, in a picture together with Putin years ago, together with Macron, says that he's sending a delegation to Washington to try and get the talks moving again. His team could be returning to negotiating table as early as tomorrow, Shabbos. President Trump said he wanted to buy Greenland. Greenland is a very large Arctic island that sits between North America and Europe. It is owned by Denmark, a small European country and an ally of the United Nations. But Greenland runs most of its own affairs. The United States had a military base there for many, many years. People laughed at Trump in 2019 in his first term. And Denmark's prime minister at the same time called the idea absurd. But Trump didn't forget. When he came back into office, this time he meant it. The United States needs Greenland, he said. He sent his son, Donald Trump Jr., there on a visit. He appointed a special representative to lead the charge for Greenland. And then, earlier this year, he said he's willing to take it the hard way, by force. Denmark got very serious, very fast. European countries sent soldiers to Greenland for joint military exercises. Denmark sent 200 more soldiers to the island itself. And as we're learning right now, new information emerges. Denmark secretly flew blood bags and explosives to Greenland, and Danish soldiers were prepared to blow up the island's own runways to stop American planes from landing there. At the end of January 2026, Trump stepped back at the Davos Economic Conference and he pledged not to use force or penalties to take Greenland. Denmark, a NATO ally, preparing to blow up its own runways to stop America. Unbelievable. Okay, 3 men were charged with moving $2.5 billion worth of NVIDIA chips from America to China. NVIDIA, where makes some of the most advanced computer chips in the world used to run artificial intelligence systems, AI. The United States does not allow these chips, it's illegal, to be sold to China, specifically to keep that technology out of Chinese hands. Prosecutors say they used fake paperwork and shell companies to hide it. One of the men is the co-founder of the Supermicro, another company. They now face federal charges in what prosecutors say is one of the biggest export law cases in the U.S. history. Former FBI Director James Comey has been called in by federal investigators. The investigation is looking at what prosecutors are calling a planned effort by senior officials from the Obama administration to work against President Trump during and after the 2016 election, his first term. Security now, almost 10 years ago. Security lines at American airports are getting longer and officials say it will get worse before it gets better. TSA workers are still showing up without pay because of the government shutdown. Some have reportedly been donating blood for money. At Atlanta Airport, workers are now demanding action as lines keep growing. Delta's CEO told Congress this is hurting workers, airlines and passengers. Well, there is still no deal to end the shutdown. Pierre Poilievre told Joe Rogan, Canada is taking in about 1 million people a year, refugees, and he says it is worsening housing and the economy. He also said refugee abuse should be dealt with by law. Poilievre, whatever, somebody help me here, leads Canada's Conservative Party. The next federal election is officially set for October 15th, 2029, unless it is triggered earlier because of a minority government right now. Raboisai, do you remember when the first landing on the moon happened? NASA has made a major move towards sending people back to the moon in a giant, its giant moon rocket is now back on the launch pad with liftoff target for April and Pesach. This is part of the Artemis mission, NASA's plan to return astronauts to the moon for the first time in more than 50 years now. The last human landing was in 1972. My grandmother remembers it. My mother remembers it. Now after decades, not many people remember it. It's not so long ago, actually. America is preparing now for the next chapter. People with Alzheimer's and dementia may now be able to see life more clearly again. Before we do that, I want to first thank Protobyte. Well, if you want your business to see life clearly again, you also have to use Protobyte 347-354-1237. Build yourself an application, software, that actually will help your business see life clear again. Business clear again. You can go to proto-byte.com. Kliger, if you want your business to communicate better in one inbox. Salesforce, all kind of different things and elements that you can have in one. Instead of paying subscriptions to thousands of dollars wasted a month to hundreds of different websites and programs, software like Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm joking, all these, CRMs, you just call 845-335-3343. Make yourself get yourself a free demo. Free demo with Kliger. Go on to Kliger.com, KLEEGR.com, mention on Edge. YS Capital Group is the answer is always yes. If you want to borrow some money for an investment, 718-831-2168. An investment in properties, specifically 718-831-2168. They have something called a no closing cost offer. Well, you can still call them. Don't be afraid of the oil prices and all that, because Hashem is helping you. And that's why we need to take a reliable taxi service. Rockland County, 845-622-1111. That's Arrive Express. Or from KJ, 845-254-1111 from KJ. Now, like I promised you all, after all the war, oil, missiles, and prices going up faster than anyone's blood pressure could, here is one piece of news that actually feels human. A new pair of smart glasses with built-in AI just won a £1 million English pounds prize in Britain for helping people deal with dementia. Dementia slowly damages the brain. It can take away memory and make everyday tasks feel confusing or impossible. Family members are currently suffering from it. More than 55 million people around the world live with it. More than 6 million are living in the United States alone. Listen to this. These glasses are designed to help in real time. They look at what is in front of the person wearing them, recognizes objects like a stove, a cup, or medicine and then gives gentle spoken reminders step by step. So if someone is standing in the kitchen and forgets what comes next, the glasses can guide them through it calmly, one step at a time. The software is called CrossSense. It won the Longitude Prize on Dementia this February. The team says the glasses are now being prepared for use through Britain's NHS, which could one day make them available to patients without paying out of pocket. They are also in talks about bringing the technology to the United States. And honestly, after a week where it felt like the whole world was trying to set itself on fire, it is nice to end with something built to help people hold on to what matters. Agit Shabbos, my friends. Have a wonderful, beautiful Lechtige Shabbos, and also easy preparation for Pesach. We'll see you next week, Me'ezer Hashem. Be'ezer Hashem Yisborach Hatzlacha.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.